Hi, and welcome to the Violets and Pearls podcast. So, when is it time to jump ship, abort ship, get the heck up out of there? Let's talk about it.
Come on, yeah. I see you, Deanna. Okay, Gia. DST, D9. Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's Violets and Pearls with the Delta girls. Wearing crimson and cream, call them chocolate supremes. And if you're shopping for things like popular things, they got all of the things from clothes to jewelry. It's a dream to talk about things the D9 way. It feels good to be Greek and change lives, man. It feels good to uplift, to give back and speak facts. Violets and Pearls is where it's at. Come on, yeah. VMP, everybody say, hey, it's a Violets and Pearls.
So when is it time to jump ship, abort ship, sink the ship?
Yeah.
That's actually a good question. So let's see. What are we talking about here? We got friendship.
Yeah.
We have romantic relationship. We have family ship.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get into those three.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I'll talk about friendship first. So I will say, unfortunately, I've had a couple of friendships where I had to jump ship. I had to actually abort ship.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. It really
Yeah.
was, because these were like long-term friendships
Yeah.
that were over like a decade. But in both instances, the reality was we just grew apart
Yeah.
over time, and I had to come to the reality that it was okay. We had great times together, but we had gotten to a point in our lives where we were just going in different directions, and our goals didn't allow us to go in the same direction, if
Right.
you will. So the time that we had previously to invest in the friendship was just no longer there, because we were hustling and grinding and focusing on other things.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of that, something took a loss.
Yeah.
And it was the friendship that took a loss.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've gone through that like so many times, especially when I think about some of my childhood friends and friends that I carried with me through high school. You know, some of them I'm still real cool with, but back in the day, like in our early 20s and high school days, we had a crew. Like, it was a crew of us that hung together. But like you said, eventually we all started parting ways, having different interests. And even to this day, there are certain people that were in that group that like still like trying to hang out and trying to do stuff now. Some of them I'm still cool with, but some of them we just chose different life paths. You know, they just into stuff that I'm not into, and so, and vice versa, you know. So it just became a time where, okay, this kind of felt like a season type of thing. Also, I've had friendships that I had to end, and it felt like a heartbreak. Like, it just was like, oh God, I gotta walk away from this so-called friend, because this person really isn't being a friend to me. Matter of fact, you bringing me down. You know, you dragging my name and stuff. You making up stuff. And so it comes to a point where you like gotta be like, hey, I just cannot continue this friendship, and it's time for me to abort this ship,
Right.
and get the heck up out of here. And, you know, and if I don't, then I'm going to sacrifice who I am as a person.
No, I get that. There's been one scenario where, like, I'm a giver.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely give to people with no expectations of anything in return. But that whole saying that you cannot pour from an empty cup is
Right.
true.
Yeah.
And when you see that in a ship, it's imbalanced,
Right.
and there's only one giver, and the other side is solely taking.
Right.
It's like, okay, what are we doing here? And I've definitely had to do some self-evaluations a few times and realize I'm not just gonna be the giver here,
Right.
and realize that this is not reciprocated. And so, hey, you don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah.
You do not have to tell me twice.
Yeah, I mean, what Maya Angelou say, when somebody shows you who they are, you got to believe them. You can't think that, oh, this is, you know, she's going to be a good friend, or he's going to be a good friend, and they've shown you their cards. Like, you see their hand. Like, you see this person is a moocher, this person is doing stuff. Like, I even had friends that, I remember one time, back in the day, I was hanging out with a friend, and we just dropped into, like, Walmart to pick up some stuff, and she actually picked up something very small and stole it. Like, she literally put it in her pocket and walked out the store. And I was like, thought you went and bought, I was looking, not paying attention, but I am. Like, we came here for something, and I saw something else in your hand. We got outside, and I realized you stole that. Like, you actually stole that. So,
That's
I
a
work
wrap.
hard.
Right,
I'm not about to be like, we're not getting ready to do that. So it's certain people. I can't even remember. I don't even think there would have ever been a time that I would have been cool with that. And especially something like well, you don't steal anything.
Yeah.
But why the heck are you gonna go in the store and steal something that's not of any
And
real
if
value?
she would have gotten caught,
I would have went down.
Yeah. Guilty by
Child, I
association.
ain't got time for that. I do not have time for that.
Now, have you ever been in a situation where you didn't get the memo that the friendship you thought was there isn't there?
Not with a homegirl, but definitely in relationships.
Okay.
Like I've definitely, because as women, we try to make everything work. We want to put a square peg in a round hole. Like I want to kind of morph into this person in order for it to work out. And you see red flags. Women, we see red flags all the time. Not just in relationships, but in general. We want things to work, And so, I tried to fix it and create, but I missed that. That ship had sailed. Like I was like, and then eventually you start looking like a fool because you're trying to hold on to this thing that's not even working. Have you ever been in that situation?
I have. Like I remember being like, of course, back in high school, long time ago, with a guy and thought that, we were hanging out and it was like, nope.
Yeah.
It was like like he was hanging out with me, but he was hanging out with like
that was your boyfriend.
Everybody else.
That was your boyfriend, but he wasn't you wasn't his girlfriend. Isn't it like that sometimes? But that same thing can happen at work. Like I remember, some friends and I have conversations, especially in the corporate world, being an African American woman. I find that after a certain amount of years, you start to lose your value. Like people just don't value you or your opinion, the things you say, to a certain extent. If you be with a company for so long, I remember back in the day, I worked on a team, and there was a prize that we can get. It was this huge picture of a bull. And I remember my boss was like, if you all get compliments or if you all get accolades from your coworkers, you get to sign this bull. We were doing sales support. Like we were supporting sales reps. So if a sales rep gave some kind of accolade to say, hey, Deanna did a great job. Then in our meeting, I would get to sign the bull. It's like a pat on the back. Well, I remember the whole team had signed the bull, and she did not. They did not ask me, and I had help so many different sales reps, but and two, it could be, it's corporate America. I'm the only black woman, and so it could be a little bit of that too. But at the same time, I felt like, man, this ship has sailed. They couldn't find one reason or one comment from anybody for me to get the same accolade as everybody else. And so instantly, that's when I was like, okay, it's time for me to go. Y'all don't even appreciate me.
Yeah.
And it's not as if I was asking for money. I want to be able to get the same,
acknowledgement.
As everybody else. And when you don't give that to anybody, if you find yourself in a situation where you're just not being appreciated, it's time to abort ship.
I agree. So, I mean, whether you are in a family ship, relationship, friendship, the rules are the same.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be mutual.
It is.
Reciprocity.
It is.
I give, I take, you give, you take. And I don't believe in that whole 50-50. Right. I feel like in any ship that you are in, you should be given 100%.
100%. What about family? Have you get any examples of that?
Well, kind of, sort of. And what I would say was, so with family is different because at the end of the day, they're still family.
Yeah.
However, I came to the realization that even though this is family, I still get to choose who I want to be around and who I want to include into my space.
Right.
And so while I haven't necessarily aborted ship, I have temporarily abandoned ship.
Right.
And I've had to do it a couple times, but I still love them. And I'm still there for them, but I had to limit how much access they're going to have to me because when your foolishness starts to interrupt what I have going on, my internal peace and my home, then it's time to, say, hey, we got to separate this.
Yeah.
And I have done that.
Yeah. In my family, not my immediate family, we all are pretty good, but my great grandmother had a ton of grandchildren, and I have a bunch of aunts and stuff. It's one set of family members that are educated and we go to school and we believe in working hard, and there's another set that they didn't finish high school, they didn't have any real ambition, and they live off the system and stuff. And so it's come back to our family. That's this side of the family several times. Oh, they think they better than everybody else, or they act like they saying we act like a certain group of people, or them the rich. We're not, we just work hard. And unfortunately, we have had to disassociate ourselves with that side of the family because for some reason they look down on us because we decided to go to college. As if college isn't everything. College isn't, for everybody. And it certainly isn't a ticket out the hood, but we use it on this side to get up out the hood. We did. And the ones that, I guess because they think we left them, they look at us differently, but we still love them unconditionally. We still see each other at family reunions and stuff. We still embrace, but we have heard the things that they've said, and it's very hurtful. And so we kind of like dissociate ourselves a little bit from that. So
it's so unfortunate. And honestly, like I've seen that a lot to where like it's almost like you get reprimanded and you get shunned and ostracized for trying to be the best version of yourself.
Right.
And I've definitely experienced that as well. Like I grew up in the hood, right?
I did.
And being like growing up in the hood, I will say that even though I grew up in the hood, the street that I grew up on was considered one of the better streets of the hood. But I was one of the people I can count on one hand that actually graduated from high school, and then I went on to get a college degree and go back home, and people think you're better than them.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, absolutely. I do not think I'm better than you. Did I make better decisions?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But I'm not better than you.
Right.
And that type of thinking is so unfortunate because it hinders and it impacts the ship.
Yeah, it does.
And so you should never make someone feel bad for wanting to be the best version of themselves, whether that is going to school, getting multiple degrees, whether that's picking a certain type of career path or becoming an entrepreneur, whatever that route is or path is for them. You should never make people feel bad because that's the decision that you didn't choose.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, is it like you putting on them the decision you didn't make, and because you didn't make the same decision, now they're a bad person?
Right.
Like, it's a little bit of psychology.
Are you mad because you wish you would have made these decisions and you didn't?
Why are you mad at me?
Why are you mad at me?
I remember, I'm going to tell you something. I remember us all growing up on the same street. I remember the bus coming and my mom sending me to school, and some of them saying, I'm not going to school today. My mom's not going to send me. She doesn't care. And so, fast forward, these are the results. Majority of them didn't even graduate high school, and not to say that they can't go back and ever finish, but go back and finish. Unless, it's just frustrating, you don't want to, and I hate there to be this separation because we all grew up on the same street. We had some of the same opportunities at the same 24 hours a day. It's just that I choose to use my time the way I use it. You use yours how you use it, and there's always an end result.
Yep. I agree.
So that's my family ship. And I had, we have not aborted ship with them. They are family. We love them dearly. We just separate ourselves a little bit because there's this trouble between the two. And I know my granny's looking down thinking like, Lord, these children, but we still love them. So we just, it is what it is.
They're still sailing, just not together.
Yeah. We waving it, don't I?
So tell us what kind of ship you dealing with right now? You got a ship that you on that's starting to sink. Let us know what's going on. We want to talk about it. We want to hear about it.
Let us know. Like and subscribe. Please share.
All right. Peace.